Hey guys, we're here with Black Excellence Bristol and we're acknowledging the achievements and aspirations. I'm here with the amazing RAF van ARKADIE. So I've met RAF through the ACA actually, the African Caribbean Assembly. Yeah, so I met RAF through the African Caribbean Assembly. And the African Caribbean Assembly is like a basically youth network really of kind of bringing the black community together within Bristol. And different black organisations and how we can kind of work together and basically do better things for our community and kind of voice our opinions as a collective. So how are you doing today, Raf? How are you feeling, mate?
I'm good. I'm nervous.
Yeah, you're nervous. Yeah, that's okay.
I'm excited to be here.
For sure. We're so glad to have you here. You know, I said to a couple people, you know, when I started this project, you're one of the first people I had in mind, because I was speaking to you about the ACA and stuff, but just what it meant to be there. You know, in that first Zoom call, there was like 50 odd black people I'd never met before, and they're all from different different organisations and stuff, and just the fact you and Ose and Clear brought everyone together was just amazing.
That means a lot, man. Thank you so much. I'm glad that had that effect. That's really nice.
Yeah. So with that being said, what really inspired you to kind of get involved? And are you sort of one of the founders of this?
No, I wasn't. So I actually showed up later on in the game. The way that I got connected was it was one of those days where I saw Cleo, saying some bits, and I was like, oh yes, I feel like she's the person I need to reach out to. So I just sent her, I think it was a message on Instagram. I think this was in August, September time, and then an email. Yeah. And then she was like, I'll send through your CV. I don't think she read it. Come get involved with this stuff. And so it was just kind of a matter of reaching out to one person and suddenly getting involved with a bunch of things. It's really nice.
Nice. So was she one of the people that started it? Yeah.
I think so. I'll be honest. I don't know much about the foundations of it. I think a bunch of people got together, obviously after the BLM protest last year.
Of course. Yeah.
Wanting to get together around a certain thing, trying to get the community together, obviously with a youth-led focus about it. But obviously, as time progresses, and I think it was as the country started to open up again last year, people had to get about their lives and things like that. So people kind of started to fall off. But I wasn't part of ACA at that time, so I can't speak to the process. I can't speak to what happened, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was just got involved, just showed up.
But I think you were quite a prominent member though, to be honest, because after the Bristol protests and stuff, and everyone was feeling a lot of trauma basically, and you sort of were the ACA is going to hold space for people just to kind of come and talk.
Well, I think it was nice. I think what happened was that it was just me and Ose were chatting. I think because we were at some of the protests together, and we were both after it, we were sitting in the park, just just so heavy,
so lot, isn't it?
And it was so much. So we were just if this is what it's like just for the two of us, I'm sure there are some other people out there who feel this way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if we can help each other get through this and feel it a bit more, we can extend that to people who, if anybody wants it, they can come up. And it was really nice to see that people actually showed up and wanted to be part of the discussion. And I think it was an interesting discussion because a lot of us try and do, we try to intellectualise it and we chat about it in kind of scientific ways. But it was nice as well. I feel people were talking about how they felt, which was really nice too. Because you often don't get a lot of spaces like that. Specifically, I don't know,
And so with the ACA, the focus is on being African and Caribbean. So you yourself are African heritage. Yeah. You're Tanzanian.
Yes.
So your mum is Tanzanian.
My mum is Tanzanian.
Yeah. So what sort of era did she move over here and
So actually, it's my dad actually moved there.
Oh really?
Yeah. My dad was he was an economic consultant to the first government of Tanzania, to President Nyerere, and helped develop, I think it was the second 5-year plan, and basically ended up going around the country to different places, learning about different industries, agriculture, all of that stuff. I think he ended up, I don't know the full story, but he ended up in Dar es Salaam. I think my mum was my mum was working at her aunt's bar and they met. So I don't know the full story. But that's that, and then wow, I'm here. So they lived out there. My dad he taught at the University of Dar es Salaam. He lived out there for a bit as well. So like, and then I think it was when I was born actually, they decided to move.
Oh, so you were born in Tanzania?
I was born, actually, weirdly enough, I was born in Holland.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nothing to do with the name as well. I was just born there. And, I think I lived there for like 2-3 months, and then we moved over here for my first Christmas. And because like my dad's worked a lot internationally, so they were like
traveling quite a lot,
and I think they wanted for me to like, have an education where I was in one place and just had that full on, how many years of education you have in one spot.
Yeah. So, like, are you able to still like connect to your like Tanzanian culture?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So it's nice. I've been back up until like my 18th birthday. I was going back maybe once a year.
Wow.
Which was really incredible.
Yeah, that's so good.
It was a really amazing link to have. And then, I was going back. I've got all my aunties, all my cousins. My mum's got a huge family, like a massive family.
Yeah.
So it's so nice. You can rock up. You can, I could like go. I remember one time I showed up, and then for the first like 2 weeks, I just didn't even go home. I got off the plane, went to my auntie's house, and just stayed there.
Yeah.
And I was just like, sweet, I'm here. I don't need to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So it was really nice. Yeah. So we've got quite a close family. Everyone's, and it's sad for me because I haven't been back in like 6 years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Since I was 18, I haven't been back. And I was, planning to go back, and then COVID hit.
Yeah, of course.
Life got in the way,
as it does.
Yeah.
That's so good that you've been able to go back so often though, because I feel like a lot of like African and Caribbean people living in the UK as well, like this is something that we really struggle to do. I guess largely because like flights cost like so much money.
Yeah, exactly. I think obviously like I try not to lie about my socioeconomic background. I come from like a fairly well-off background. My parents have done well for themselves.
Yeah. And
because of that, I think it let me live quite an international life. I've been able to jump around between countries, and I'm really, really grateful for that connection. It's grounded me a lot in terms of my like black identity, because I always knew where I was from. I always knew like maybe the land that I was connected to. The like where I knew what was home from the get-go, which has always helped me like kind of understand myself a bit more, which is nice.
That's really nice then. And so like you're your last year of uni, about to graduate.
Last year my masters.
Yeah. Oh, that's a master's.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, because we had a little conversation the other day. Your dissertation, which I really enjoyed that.
Did you know?
That was really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, mate. I appreciate you coming down for it. That was
really
nice.
And so, what is it you're studying?
Contemporary identity.
Contemporary identities. Is that just specifically the masters, or is that the whole course?
It's specifically the masters.
Yeah.
It's just like an offshoot of sociology, where they focus on identity and inequality, basically.
Yeah, so can you tell us a bit more about that for the viewers at home?
Yeah.
I read it, I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, that sounds so cool.
It sounds a lot cooler than it is. I think it really just focuses on like how we conceptualize identity in the kind of modern world and the different things that can affect it on like so many different scales, so like on an interpersonal scale up to a global scale, and all the different levels that we can think about it and understand the like dynamics that affect it. And there's a lot to it, I guess.
How has it been like going the masters? Has it been quite difficult to explore this, or?
It's been pretty great actually. I think it's over the past year I've really managed to cement my political understanding of a lot of like black politics and black radical politics through like reading a lot of like that kind of literature and also like comparing it to other bits that kind of fit the same narrative, and it's really helped me understand, conceptualize black identity on like a global scale as well as like national, and like as well as like even thinking about just in Bristol, for example.
Yeah.
Like I get to like try and understand it at all these different levels, and even like on a personal level. So it's been super interesting for that, and hopefully it's given me a nice little grasp of what's going on, especially like with myself. Definitely.
And what's like the plan for like the journey? Like what kind of direction you're trying to go, like career wise, and
I don't know.
Because you're clearly quite involved in like like you said, black politics and kind of like things that affect like our community. and how we can move forward as well, which I find really interesting. So is that something like a field you want to like?
It's definitely a field that I'm interested in. I want to make sure that all the work that I do is grounded in community, like so it's grassroots, like led and understood. I want to try and make sure that like I try to decolonize my practice and decolonize the way that I think about the world as much as possible. But that's easier said than done, and I don't know where that's going to take me. But I think, you know, what I was saying earlier, that being in Bristol is and connecting with the community here it's been a fantastic place for me to start that journey and to figure stuff out. I think I want to stay here a bit longer and carry on, you know, getting a bit deeper into Bristol and understanding what's going on here.
So where did you grow up in the UK?
I grew up in Cambridge.
In Cambridge?
Yeah.
Okay, so how was that? Is that quite like a white place?
Yeah, really, really white. Really white, but I mean, it's an interesting one. I never felt, at least like I was saying earlier, like I had a really strong sense of community there, specifically on the street that I lived on. It was like we all looked out for each other. We all knew each other. You know, like I know my next door neighbours. I know everyone on the street. I say everyone, like most people on the street. It was really nice, and I never felt like the odd one out.
That's great.
Yeah, which was nice as a kid, especially. I think it was like going to secondary school. Like I went to a private boarding school, like near Peterborough, and it was going there, and people were like, "Oh, yeah, you're black," and I was like, "Excuse me, what are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And then
you never really thought about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Never really questioned about that sort of thing.
Exactly. I'd never been questioned about it. You know, other than like people touching my hair, which I was always just like, until I kind of understood that it was more of a racial, like a racist thing essentially.
Yeah.
I was kind of fine with it. Yeah. And then I understood it more within that dynamic. I was like, oh, actually, and then it started getting really annoying as well.
Yeah.
We're doing it all the time.
Yeah.
So,
and have you always had long hair?
Yes. I've always had long hair. Why I say that, it doesn't look very long. I get mad, shrinkage.
Yeah, you're stretched out.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even that, like, you know, compared to my hair, that's really long and stuff. But I always sort of take that in like black men in particular as a sign of like being like empowered by your blackness and like.
It's an interesting story because my mum, like, I don't think she ever really understood my hair. Because she's from Tanzania, like, and obviously they're like the hair texture there is like it's a lot shorter, a lot
very tight, curly, coarse hair.
Exactly. Yeah. So the curls that I've got now, right? I didn't know my hair could do this until about 2 years ago. Yeah. And then I was like, oh my days, I can just wear my hair because I was always wearing it like out, like a proper massive afro. Yeah. Just because I didn't understand that like if I just washed my hair and then left it to like curl naturally, that would be fine. And my mum, even like I went back home like a couple of months ago, my mum was like, "You've got dreadlocks, you need to cut your hair." I was like, "No, Mum, feel it. You can run your hands through it. It's all good." Because again, where my mum's from, dreadlocks aren't really a thing. People aren't really for it. And you know, I think I had dreadlocks once, and she was like, "You got to shave it off."
I had a conversation that's similar with another person he's like half Somali, half English. And he, like, when I first met him, he had like really big like afro and stuff, and he'd say to me every day, like, be like, "Oh, my mum really got trouble with the cut." I said, "No, mate, like, that's your power right there. Don't listen to her." And she was from Sweden as well. Yeah. So he's like, you know, she just doesn't get it, like, she doesn't understand. And I was like, you know, that is what makes you having like afro hair. Do you know what I mean? That's unique to our community. Do you know what I mean? And like, you know, me myself, I experienced a lot of self-hate growing up, and then it wasn't until like last year, but like I sort of started to realise, like, not only did I experience a lot of self-hate for my blackness, but also I always had like shaved head near enough, or like just really, really short hair. Yeah. And when my hair's short, it's quite like straight as well, you know. Yeah. So it was almost like that was me kind of like combating my blackness and kind of like trying to bury it down, sort of thing. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, I can see myself like growing dreads and like growing my hair long. And I look at your hair, I'm like, I want to do that.
Do it. It's nice. It takes effort though.
Yeah.
Like, just going through like bottles of product, man, it's awful. Like, oils and stuff, it's expensive. It's expensive as well.
So you DJ on 1020 Radio?
Yeah.
And the show's called?
Diasporic Tendencies is one of them, and then I've got a breakfast show called Slow Heat.
Oh, there's two different shows?
There's two different shows,
yeah. Oh, because I knew both names. I thought it was like, what was like a nickname for one? So where did the name Diasporic Tendencies come from?
It came from...
Or it's an actual name, sorry.
Yeah, it was, the idea about it came from, like, how, over the past, I don't know, like, maybe 3 years, I was going out a lot in the UK, and I'd just been going out to, like, lots of, specifically, like, black nights, and people were, like, connecting to lots of different music. Obviously, you had, the London jazz scene blowing up a couple of years ago, and you saw this kind of reconnection to, like West African high life and like different like Afrobeat sounds, and through that I was kind of just like realising that people were really, well, it felt like for me people were trying to really reconnect back to Africa through music in their own different, like a more contemporary way, which was wicked. And I guess as well focusing on like, I don't know, like I love electronic music, but I also love other vibes too. So it was like focusing on the other vibes, you know, lots of like music, instrumentation, stuff like that, that I just really appreciated. So it kind of came from that, basically seeing, just lots of black people trying to reconnect in different ways. And just being like, oh yeah, I want to do it too.
Yeah. Is 1028 based in Bristol?
It is. It's on Stokescroft, just behind Elevate Sounds.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. Yeah, because I saw it on like a radio app and I was like, oh cool. And then I saw you were like performing on that. I was thinking, what is it, like flying down to London? Or like, what's going on? No, it's local. Yeah. Oh, that's cool then. Oh, that's really nice.
Nice people. They're really friendly.
Yeah, oh, that's really good, man. I like that. Yeah, because I listened to it a couple of times actually. It was nice just to hear like a bit different. Because when I listen to African music, I basically just listen to like Afro beats really. Yeah. And that kind of like UK Afro swing, like NSG, stuff like that. Yeah. So that listening to your show is really cool to hear like the sort of more, maybe not more authentic, but like more indigenous sort of sound, I guess, if you will.
I guess it's nice. I think the thing that I really enjoyed about it was like connecting to lots of the history behind it as well. So like focusing, I remember like listening to lots of stuff from Tanzania and realising that like it was like focusing on the politics from it, and how the first president of Tanzania wanted to create like a national project of Tanzania. So what he did was he started like funding all these bands to start performing, to like create a kind of sense of national music, because you were trying to unite a country that like had tons of languages and tons of ethnic groups, and like so like the first part of the project was to have a national language which was Swahili, and a great way to spread that is through like radios and music, and just get people to like it. And so you had all this incredible music coming out in the 60s and 70s that's, you know, it was in Tanzania, and then, you know, the bunch in Kenya and Uganda as well, just all around East Africa, and it was, I just, loved it. And it doesn't, like, what I realised as well is it doesn't really get that much airtime here in the UK or in the West in general. And I was like,
you can be that.
I can be that guy.
You can bring it over. Yeah.
I mean, I get why. A lot of it's like, well, I don't know. It's not as like vibrant and like fast paced as a lot of like West African, like high life in particular. But it's got its own it's just got its own vibe to it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Africa. There's so much diversity within the people, the culture, the music, the food, the dancing. So it's great that you kind of explore that, and like, you know, that's kind of what it is in the term diaspora, isn't it? It's about like, you know, like the sort of all over, really, isn't it? It's not about just sticking to one.
Exactly.
It's nice. West African music gets the most.
Exactly. It's nice. It was nice exploring as well, like how in a lot of these countries they would have like a renaissance of like what would be considered Western music. So, you know, like Zambia had like a Zam rock scene, so there's like loads of rock that's like really insane, really really great. And you know, and also there's loads of like folk music and like traditional music that people don't really delve into that much, that has its own beauty to it. It's incredible. And I think the fun stuff as well is like moving across the diaspora to like, you know, Latin America, to see how there are so many crossovers.
Massively.
How it's just all, you know, there's so much to it really. It's really fun to kind of keep exploring.
Yeah, oh, that's really nice. And just to like wrap up, basically, just want to ask you one of your greatest achievements to date. Could be literally anything. It's about you personally, what you value, and also like what's one of your goals for the future, like what's the next step after you finished your masters, basically.
That's an interesting one. One of my greatest achievements. I don't know. I think, you know, goals for the future is an easier one. It's just to keep doing what I'm doing. Like I said earlier, to keep taking on with the community. And I want to try and figure out just different ways that I can support people in the community, that we can keep linking up. I think that, what I really love and what I really want to find is a sense of community. And I think, back to that ACA meeting, seeing all those people, for example, it's like, there is a community that could be found here, and definitely is going on, and there's so much going on behind the scenes, and I'm just like, wow. It blew my mind too that day. So I guess that was a really nice day, or nice afternoon, or however long it took. I can't remember when it was, but other than that, I don't know, biggest achievement. Finishing uni without dying.
Yeah, that's huge, to be honest. Like, some people drop out and all sorts of fair play to them, because it's so hard, isn't it? Did you study sociology?
No, I actually studied languages at uni.
Languages?
Yeah.
Even harder, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's stressful, but it was fun. It was fun. I think that was to my dissertation for my undergrad. That was a really amazing achievement, because it was definitely what made me move to Bristol. Because I ended up interviewing lots of sound men actually out of this pub, and part of the sound system scene, just because I was just there and I was like interested in the history and all. And it was really nice because they were so happy to share like part of themselves and part of like what they do just for my dissertation. I was just like, I'm so grateful. Like, I think someone invited me over to his house and like we started playing tunes together. I was like, oh, this is incredible. Thanks so much.
Yeah. So that's amazing how music connects people.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I love that as well. Yeah, thank you so much for coming through. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's so good to see how you've used, like you said, you come from like a well-off like background and stuff like that. And it's so great to see how you've used that to like help the community and uplift people.
I'm trying. There's definitely a lot more of a process to come. Hopefully, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Just keep on moving because you're doing so well. And honestly, it's like you're an inspiration to me. Honestly, I wouldn't have asked you. I wouldn't have asked you to come here otherwise. I didn't think you were worthy of the Black Excellence title.
Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it.
So thank you very much.
What do we do? I'll get out.